Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know It, the News You Trust studio, sponsored by Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution. I'm Dale Minio, powered by Soy Biodiesel. I'll be heading to the Allen County Fair today, thanks to Nature's Premium Liquid Fertilizer. Also, on Friday, we'll be at the Holt House Ag Solutions Open House, and that's near Sydney, and they'll be talking about their TYM tractors and other products and services they offer. For more information, you can call Greg at 937-538-8594. And just a reminder, Seed Consultants is starting their fall field tours, if you will. Check out the latest at their plots. You can get the location near you at seedconsultants.com. When farmers express interest in growing short corn, this isn't what they had in mind. Corn plants infected with corn stunt disease may only grow to 5 feet tall with leaf tips that yellow or redden. The symptoms are followed by growth of multiple small ears with loose or missing kernels and deformed grain. Substantial yield loss can occur. Last week, extension specialists in Oklahoma and Missouri announced the first confirmed cases of corn stunt disease in their states, marking the farthest north the disease has ever been detected in the United States. The case of corn stunt was confirmed in central Oklahoma. In Missouri, the disease presence was detected in southwest region of the state, transmitted to the crop by corn leafhoppers infected with one of 3 pathogens. The disease literally stunts the corn height. Plants struggle to reach 5 feet tall, and ear development is affected, eventually leading to yield loss. Today's weather brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
Dry weather continues to dominate in Ohio. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at your forecast update. This will be a pretty quick forecast run through this morning. Why? Because we have nothing to talk about except sunshine and blue sky from now through next Wednesday. That's right, all the way through next Wednesday. Temperatures are still rather pleasant here today. We do expect them to slowly creep higher later this week into the weekend. Humidity values will creep up over the weekend as well. I am not expecting any sweltering, though, at this point in time. It looks like the major heat stays a little bit farther to the west and southwest. Next Wednesday night into Thursday, we have a frontal boundary that comes through Ohio. This is our best chance of rain over the next 2 weeks. It's not as good as we were seeing a few days ago. That front is kind of trying to fall apart. I'm still going to say 1/4 to 1/2 inch is possible in Ohio, but don't count on it. Behind that front, we finish out next week with cooler, drier air to go into the Labor Day holiday weekend. But overall, we are well below normal on precipitation for Ohio as we finish out August and move through early September. It's going to take a strong front to get something going here that can change this pattern overall. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Joining me is Mike Steenhoek, Executive Director of the Soy Transportation Coalition. Mike, I always appreciate your updates, kind of reminding me of the big picture of what's happening out there and inviting me to call. So we've got 2 things that we can get into: the potential Canadian rail strike and the East Coast Gulf port negotiations. And as I read your description, it sounds like the Canadian rail strike's the bigger issue right now. What makes it so?
Well, first of all, the deadline for this, where a strike or a lockout will occur, is as early as 12:01 a.m. Eastern time on Thursday, August 22nd. And so it's very much on the front burner. And we've already seen for a number of days already railroads suspend certain types of service, because a railroad is not going to dispatch a train that may have to deliver some freight 3-4 days journey away, make that delivery, and then have to get back for a safe location for that locomotive and that train consist to be parked if they can't do that before August 22nd. So they're not going to dispatch that train in the first place. So we're already seeing consequences of that throughout the freight network in Canada, and that includes stuff coming from Canada to the United States, from the United States into Canada. It also is a concern for us because we in the United States, we don't have a lot of leverage that we can exert on the Canadian government. Agricultural shippers and organizations like the Soy Transportation Coalition have sent written correspondence to the Canadian federal government, Prime Minister Trudeau's office, urging him to intervene if the 2 parties cannot come to an acceptable agreement. So far, the Canadian federal government has declined to intervene. We in the United States don't have the kind of leverage on the Canadian government like we do here in the United States. So while Canadian businesses and industries are strongly imploring their government to intervene, we don't have as much leverage that we can play. And so far, at least, unfortunately, the Canadian federal government has declined to intervene. So it's looking increasingly likely that there will be some kind of stoppage that will occur for a period of time, and hopefully it'll be short-lived. It is important to our industry. This would not impact shipments within the United States, because the railroads in the United States and the railroad workers unions here in this country, they operate under a separate agreement. And even that includes the Canadian National and Canadian Pacific Kansas City that have significant trackage in the United States. That is separate. And that rail contract was reinstituted a couple years ago. It doesn't impact shipments here in the United States, but it's when something originates in the United States and is destined to Canada, or originates in Canada, destined to the United States, that would be impacted. For U.S. soybean meal, Canada is our fourth largest export market. We export $614 million worth of U.S. soybean meal every year to Canada. Canada is the number one U.S. soybean oil export customer at $106 million of value. There's a lot of fertilizer that is produced in Canada and is shipped down to the United States. We do export some soybeans, soy products, and grain via Canadian ports, particularly in British Columbia. It's a concern for our industry, and obviously we hope for the two parties to come to an agreement as soon as possible and avoid any kind of elongated disruption of service.
And thank you, Mike Steenhoek, Executive Director of the Soy Transportation Coalition. Also, Scott Beck, a respected leader and driving force behind innovative agricultural practices, has just been elected as the Central Region Vice President of the American Seed Trade Association, representing 5 key states: Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Scott will play a pivotal role in shaping the future of the seed industry at a time when sustainability and innovation are more critical than ever. We're thrilled to welcome Scott Beck as our new Central Region Vice President, said Andy Levine, the President and CEO of ASTA. His extensive knowledge and commitment to the industry will be invaluable as we continue to address the challenges and opportunities facing our members and the broader agricultural community. And the long-awaited development of La Nina in the equatorial Pacific Ocean may be underway just in time to bring concern over weather prospects for the final weeks of U.S. corn and soybean crops. A growing pool of cool subsurface water in the eastern Pacific Ocean appears to be influencing a sharp uptrend in barometric pressure feature known as the Southern Oscillation Index. La Nina, the cool water phase of the Pacific Ocean El Nino Southern Oscillation climate feature, has taken its time to form this summer. Some forecast models earlier this summer called for La Nina to possibly be in effect by mid-August. However, that did not occur. The equatorial region of the Pacific maintained a neutral sea surface temperature and barometric pressure identity throughout June and July. Stay tuned. Back with more after this.
It's time to cut costs. Your Meristem dealer has the keys. Unlock the NPK you already own with new, improved Excavator AMS powered by microbialized technology. Excavator AMS is the first and only all-in-one nutrient release and residue breakdown product with built-in nitrogen, surfactants, and water conditioner. Take cost out of your fertilizer and adjuvant spend now. Unlock nutrition faster with Excavator AMS. Learn more and find a dealer at meristemag.com. Always more bushels for less.
Did you know soybeans' #1 customer is animal agriculture? That includes Ohio's beef farms. Research from the Soy Checkoff found that U.S. beef operations use over 1.3 million tons of soybean meal every year. That's the meal from about 55 million bushels of U.S. soybeans. Essential protein, energy, and amino acids. High-quality feed for heart-healthy beef. Soybeans, feeding the industry that feeds us. Brought to you by Ohio soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Joining me on behalf of DeKalb Corn is Rod Stevenson, Bayer Crop Science Technology Development Rep, to share Bayer research to combat top diseases, including tar spot.
Bayer's research teams are working to better meet the agronomic needs of our customers. We are proud that our R&D pipeline investments leads the seed and crop protection industry by a 2-to-1 margin. The focus is breeding new products with enhanced genetic tolerance and developing innovative new crop protection products.
What progress is being experienced?
Our breeders are identifying new genetic combinations with tolerance to tar spot and other diseases by using precision breeding strategies. We expect the capabilities to reduce one breeding cycle from 6 years to 4 months. In recent advancements, we recreated tar spot in test plots to help develop our new corn products with improved tolerance.
Thanks, Rod. To learn more, visit DeKalb.com. Always read and follow IRM where applicable, grain marketing, and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions. The Agriculture Retailers Association Senior Vice President of Public Policy and Counsel, Richard Gupton, released a statement in response to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's final herbicide strategy released. The ARA plans to review the EPA's final herbicide strategy issued to gain a better understanding of the full impact it will have on America's agricultural industry. We appreciate the EPA's efforts to make continuous improvements to earlier drafts that would have been unworkable for agricultural retailers, pesticide applicators, and farmers. ARA members support efforts to protect endangered species, an improved registration system that ensures the availability of essential pesticide products, and mitigation measures that are easy to understand, economical, and achievable. The real test will be when the new 2025 pesticide label registrations are implemented by EPA. In October of 2023, ARA filed comments with the EPA Office of Pesticide Programs opposing its draft herbicide strategy framework. Time now for the Louis Dreyfus Grain Analysis, brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finishing Tuesday on a mixed note. We had wheat leading the charge to the upside. Chicago, KC, and Minneapolis wheat putting positive numbers on the board. Corn was mostly negative, only by a few cents. And then beans were kind of stuck in the middle. Bean meal was lower. Bean oil did rally and close a little bit stronger. What was the market crowing about yesterday? Well, first of all, the U.S. dollar fell to a fresh 7-month low. That was probably the biggest thing for us to look at overall. In addition to that U.S. dollar move, U.S. exporters sold another 371,000 tons of new crop soybeans to China and Mexico. That brings this week's known totals to 814,000 metric tons. Now, we have to reiterate that while the Chinese purchases of soybeans are below normal, China is fully expected to buy between 20 and 22 million metric tons of U.S. origin between now and January. Taking a look at it as a glass half full analysis means that we probably still have a little bit of upside, or at least not as much of a bearish tilt to the markets as we look long haul. Still, as we move through a ginormous crop here in the United States, we're going to have to sell quite a bit at fairly decent levels, even though low prices cure low prices. On the wheat side of things, Indian wheat prices rallied another $3 per metric ton this week. Spot milling market quoted at $8.90 a bushel. The rally in Indian wheat is one of the things that is being cited as a reason for U.S. wheat and honestly world wheat values to try and move through this modest uptick. Otherwise, the market information yesterday was not really all that exciting or supportive. Day 2 of the Pro Farmer Crop Tour found excellent potential in eastern parts of Nebraska, but mixed results in Ohio and South Dakota back on Monday. We're still not seeing anything that will prove or deny the market's thinking of crop size right now. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Today's market's brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Overnight, September corn up 2 1/4 at $3.77 1/4 cent. December corn up 2 at $4 even. September beans, $9.60 3/4, up 3 1/2. November new crop up 3 1/2 at $9.79 1/2. September wheat up 1/2 cent at $5.30 3 1/2. Let's call it a penny higher now at $5.34. July new crop up 2 cents at $5.94 1/2. in livestock. October cattle, $175.60, down $3.42. The October lean hogs are $76.40, down 40 cents. And September feeder cattle, $234.50, down $4.77. September Class 3 milk, a penny higher this morning at $22.51. Thanks for joining us. This is the Ohio AgNet.